Have you ever looked at someone you love and felt something deep inside your chest? Something you couldn't quite explain, like their spirit was dimming. Not in a dramatic way, but quietly, softly, like a candle flaring low just before it goes out. I'm not trying to be dark here, but this is something I've lived through, and I'll tell you this. The body doesn't just give up one day. It gives signals, small ones at first, not shouts. If you're not really paying attention, they can go unnoticed. And by the time you finally realize what was happening, it's too late. No time left for the things that mattered. No time to prepare, to hold their hand one more time, to say what needs to be said. That's why today I want to share something important with you, something personal. We're talking about 5 subtle health clues that might mean someone you love is approaching the end of life. Now, this isn't to scare you. This is about being prepared, about loving better in the time that's left. And believe me, there's a quiet strength in knowing. There's peace in understanding. So stay with me, and maybe, just maybe, you'll walk away from this with a new kind of clarity. Now let's begin. Let's start with George. George was 81, used to be a mechanic back in his younger days. Hands always greasy, eyes sharp as a hawk. You'd find him under a hood more often than at a dinner table. He was the type of guy who could fix anything, but wouldn't say much unless he had to. His daughter Laura began noticing things were different. His belt notch moved in. His pants didn't fit like they used to. He laughed it off, said he was finally getting his beach body. But Laura wasn't laughing. There was something about the way he pushed food around his plate, the way he'd take a few bites and then just stop, staring off into space. That's when she got concerned. You see, weight loss in elderly folks isn't just about appearance. It's often a sign that the body is slowing down, that it's not absorbing nutrients properly, or that the digestive system is beginning to fail. It's the body conserving energy, almost like it knows something we don't. George wasn't dieting, he wasn't exercising more, he just didn't want to eat. And when he did eat, he got full fast. He said food didn't taste the same anymore. And that happens. Our sense of taste fades with age. But it can also mean something deeper. The body, when it's preparing for the end, starts sending fewer hunger signals. Eating becomes less important because the systems are shutting down. And when that happens, strength goes too. The immune system weakens, they start getting sick easier. They get tired and you try everything. You offer favorite meals, protein shakes, even sit with them, trying to coax one more bite. But nothing works, and you start to realize maybe this isn't just about the food. And then there's the fatigue. Not the kind you fix with a nap. I'm talking about the kind that seeps into your bones. The kind that makes walking to the bathroom feel like climbing a mountain. That was George too. He stopped going out to the garage. That may not sound like much, but it was everything. That garage was his world. He used to spend hours out there. But suddenly, even opening the door felt like too much. His hands trembled while buttoning his shirt. And one morning he looked at Laura and said, "I don't think I can make it to church today." He'd never missed a Sunday in his life. That's when she knew. This wasn't laziness, this wasn't just getting older. This was the body downshifting. Drunk doctors say the heart pumps less, oxygen doesn't flow the same. The body goes into conservation mode. It's doing what it has to do, preparing for the end. But there's another side to this that no one talks about, the emotional toll. You see someone who was once so full of life, who used to laugh, to joke, to play with the grandkids. Now they're quiet, withdrawn. They cancel plans, they don't call back, and it hurts. You think maybe they're upset, maybe they're depressed, maybe they're giving up, but sometimes they're just too tired to pretend. George, he didn't want pity. He didn't want people fussing. He just wanted peace. And that's what we gave him, a chair near the window, his favorite tea, soft music playing, no expectations, just presence, just love. So here's what I want to say before we go any further. If you're hearing this and thinking, that sounds like my mom, or that's exactly what my dad is going through, then maybe it's time to lean in, to talk to a doctor, to sit down with them and ask gently how they're really feeling. And if you're finding value in this conversation, if it's helping even just a little bit, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Because here at Elderly Reflections, we're not just telling stories, we're sharing truths, offering insights, and passing on the kind of elderly wisdom that deserves to be heard. This is about dignity, about honoring the last chapter, and it means the world to have you here. So let me tell you about Irene. She was 85, a retired school teacher, sharp as a tack, always had a crossword puzzle in her hand, and remembered every birthday in the family without needing a calendar. But something started to shift. Her daughter Melissa noticed first. Irene forgot Melissa's birthday. That had never happened. Then came the phone calls. Irene would repeat the same questions again and again. What day is it? Did I already tell you about the new neighbors? It was like her mind was playing tricks on her. At first, Melissa thought maybe it was normal aging. But this was more than just forgetfulness. This was confusion, disorientation. Sometimes Irene would walk into a room and forget why she was there. Or she'd get dressed and put on 2 blouses and no pants. Once she even tried to pay for groceries using her library card. It was subtle at first, but it grew over time. And it wasn't just memory, it was mood too. Irene, once warm and social, started withdrawing. She stopped calling friends. She stopped joining family dinners. She sat by the window and just watched the street. Silent, detached, lost in her thoughts. When someone starts pulling away like that, it can feel personal. You might think they're upset or distant, but often it's the brain trying to cope. It's not just that they can't remember. It's that the energy it takes to participate in life becomes overwhelming. Loud conversations feel like noise. Jokes don't land the same, and even smiling can feel like too much effort. Doctors call this cognitive decline, and it often happens gradually, long before a formal diagnosis. The brain, like the rest of... Now let's talk about something that seems unrelated, but isn't. Repeated infections. If your loved one keeps catching colds, if a small cut doesn't heal, or if they suddenly get sick more often, that's a red flag. You might think, oh, it's just the season, or it's just a UTI. But if these infections keep coming back, or if they take a long time to clear up, the immune system is likely weakening. I've seen this up close. My friend Peter, 79, was never sick a day in his life. But then one winter he had back-to-back colds. Then came a nasty case of pneumonia. He ended up in the hospital for a week. The following spring, another infection. This time it was a skin wound that wouldn't heal, and each time it took longer to recover. The antibiotics stopped working like they used to. His energy dropped, his appetite disappeared, and slowly, day by day, he stopped being the Peter we knew. Why does this happen? It's because the body is no longer fighting like it used to. The immune response weakens and circulation decline, meaning nutrients and white blood cells can't get to where they're needed fast enough. Even basic cuts can become dangerous. And in the elderly, infections don't always show up with the typical signs. No fever, no complaints. Sometimes it's just confusion or sudden tiredness. That's why it's so important to pay attention to changes in behavior or energy, because often those are the first signs of infection. And this is where families struggle, because we want to fix it. We want one more round of antibiotics, one more hospital visit, one more try. But there comes a time when comfort matters more than cure. Hydration, clean sheets, warm blankets, a calm environment. Those things matter. They bring dignity, they bring peace. So if your loved one seems confused or less interested in life, or if they keep getting sick with no clear explanation, please take it seriously. These aren't just symptoms, they're signals. And sometimes they're the body's way of saying it's getting tired, that it's nearing the end. And if any of this resonates with you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe and hit that bell. Elderly Reflections isn't just about information. It's about meaning, about passing on the kind of elderly wisdom that only comes from listening, from watching closely, and from loving deeply. Let's honor that together. Being informed, being ready, can be the difference between panic and peace, between feeling helpless and feeling present. So now, let's talk about the final sign. The one that speaks not just through behavior or appetite, but through the breath. Through the rhythm of still made her own tea every morning, still read the paper, still kept her garden tidy. But one morning something felt off. Her son Brian noticed it first. She was breathing differently. Not loud, not gasping, but irregular. Her chest would rise and fall, and then... What Brian didn't know at the time was that this pattern, this change in rhythm, was something called Cheyne-Stokes respiration. It's a common breathing pattern near the end of life. Periods of deep, rapid breathing followed by pauses. The body is winding down, the brain signaling less often, the lungs responding differently. And it's not just the breathing. Donna's hands and feet began to feel colder. Her fingertips turned slightly bluish. Her skin became mottled, patches of color that looked like marbling on the surface. These are signs of reduced circulation. The heart is still beating, but not with the same strength. Blood is being pulled away from the extremities, reserved for the organs that matter most in those final days. These changes are often misunderstood. Families think it's just the flu, or maybe she's cold or dehydrated. But it's more than that. It's the body shifting into its final mode. And it's not always sudden. These changes can come days or even weeks before death. Sometimes the person becomes very sleepy, sleeping more hours each day. Other times they might become restless, agitated, or suddenly alert for a moment after days of quiet. That's called a rally. It's common too. The body can surprise us, but each of these is part of the pattern, a sign that the journey is coming to a close. There's also the shortness of breath that sneaks up on you. It doesn't have to be dramatic, just little things, struggling to finish a sentence, needing to rest after standing up, gasping after walking a few steps, and you might notice them start breathing through their mouth more often, or sitting propped up with pillows because lying flat feels suffocating. Sometimes you'll hear a gurgling in the throat. It's not always painful, but it's a sign that fluid is building up in the lungs and the body can't clear it efficiently. The lungs are tired. The diaphragm isn't moving as strongly. This is one of the clearest signs that the body is moving toward its final chapter. And if you've ever sat next to someone as this happens, you know how quiet the room becomes. Every breath feels like a question. Every silence between them feels longer. And this is where the emotional part gets heavy, because you begin to ask yourself, what do I say now? Do I say goodbye? Do I talk about the past? Or just sit there? I'll tell you what helped me. Just be. You don't need big speeches. You don't need to fix anything. What they need most is your presence. Sit by the bed, hold their hand, read something soft, play their favorite music, whisper stories from the old days. Tell them they're loved, tell them they're safe. If they're alert, let them talk. If they're not, speak anyway, because they can still hear you. The hearing is often the last sense to go. And even when their eyes close and they haven't spoken in hours, your words matter. A friend of mine, Janet, told me about her mother's last day. She sat by her side all day, just humming old hymns they used to sing in church. Her mom hadn't spoken in 2 days, but during the last hour, her eyes fluttered and she smiled. Just for a moment. Then the breath slowed, then stopped. That smile was everything to Janet. That quiet goodbye. You see, these last signs, changes in breathing, in circulation, in alertness, they're all part of the body's way of preparing. It's not failing, it's letting go. It's finding peace. And when we recognize that, we can shift our focus from saving to soothing, from curing to caring. So what can you do, practically speaking? Make them comfortable. Keep the room quiet. Use soft lights. Make sure they're not in pain. Offer ice chips if they can't drink. Moisten their lips, sit with them, breathe with them, and remind yourself you're not alone. What you're doing is sacred work. You're walking them home, and when it's over, it will hurt. But knowing you were there, that you helped them feel loved and not alone, that is something you will carry with you forever. That's your peace. If this journey has helped you in any way, I hope you'll take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Elderly Reflections is here to share elderly wisdom, senior health guidance, motivation, and real-life lessons from the elderly. Your support means we can keep telling these stories. I'd love to hear about the place you call home. And please, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You never know how much it could mean. Take care of your loved ones, and take care of yourself.